BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC, and even MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Welcome, everyone. It is the Fly Guys podcast. Justin Goodard. We're back, Cameron Klein. We are back in the saddle. We have taken a bit of a leave of absence for about a week or so, just to, not in a way to kind of charge up the batteries. You've been busy with work. I've been busy with work, so we needed to make sure that we have time to give our faithful audience the Flyers talk, not that they want, but the talk they need. Cameron, it's Friday though. How you doing today?
Good, dude. I'm good. Flyers won last night. It was a tough watch. We'll get into that in a second, but I'm good. Yeah. Very excited. I got for those that don't know, if you still have a PS4 like me, if you're still back in the old days, Star Wars Jedi Survivor on Amazon for $20. Okay, that's a $50 retail value for $20. Just throwing that out there, people. Yeah. So it's already, dude. I got it. It came yesterday. Downloaded it. Wanted to play it before the Flyers game. I had about 10 minutes, and I thought I can get 10 minutes in. And then I thought I could even do a couple 17-minute little stints during the intermissions, but I thought I'm not going to be able to do that. And when I play this game, I'm going to start it, and then it's going to be the next 4 hours. I don't know what's going to happen. So for me, I was like, can't watch it. Got to watch a god-awful 50 minutes of Flyers hockey before they win. Just cuts.
In Ottawa of all places. Yeah, so let's kind of jump right into, so where we last left off, it was like, where are we at with this team at this point? Where are we going? And how bad could this get? The goaltending was atrocious. The defense didn't know how to pick up a hockey stick if their lives mattered. And then the offense just couldn't figure anything out. Michov's being benched here and there. We've got problems on the side of the fence and all that stuff. So they have a string of games. Now, this is the thing about the Philadelphia Flyers that we saw a lot last year, but it feels different because of just where the team is at in terms of the standings and where we feel like they're at for what the season will be. They have a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I laughed because I'm thinking, oh, my God, they have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we just found out that Kolosov is injured, and we got to turn back to the other guy in Fedotov. And I'm like, great. Well, this is a lost cause. They had just, they beat Boston. They beat St. Louis. And, oh, God, they're turning it around. Maybe this is where they find it. Then they get shut up by Boston. They have a heartbreaking loss to Carolina. And I'm just like, all right, well, here's where the wheels fall off. So they go down into Tampa Bay, a place that many teams fall in. And not only do they overcome a 1-0 deficit in the third period, courtesy of Owen Tippett, they then beat Andrei Vasilevsky in a shootout 2-0, and Ivan Fedotov in the process 26 out of 27 plus a perfect shootout 2 for 2. So you think to yourself, well, hey, the world's crumbling around us right now. The Flyers have no goalies. It seems like the optimal time that we're going to find out that Ivan Fedotov does have something in the tank. And they have the day off. They go to Florida, again, the defending Stanley Cup champions. And what do, Cameron? They get a point out of Florida. They take that game to a shootout. They lose, but they take it to a shootout. So then, okay, they've got points they got 3 points out of 4 in that Florida trip. That's pretty good. Then you come home. Then you've got San Jose. San Jose is a joke like we are, but we've got the Rad Russian. They've got some celery kid that they drafted. Flyers go up. Bing, bang, boom. It's 3-0, including a breakaway goal from Matvei Michkov. You're thinking, oh, my gosh. See, you know what? We might not be good, but we're not this bad. And then bing, bang, boom. Here come the San Jose Sharks tying up the game. And a game in which the Flyers should have never had to end in be a tie at the end of regulation. That one goes into a shootout. And the Flyers have to win that game as well. Courtesy of Matvei Michkov, of course.
Yep. So, naturally, he's becoming the guy that they turned to.
It's like we called it, right? It's like we imagined that he was just going to show up and be great, like we all said.
Yeah.
all of those games, I felt so confused as to how to feel about my Flyers. They're barely scraping by San Jose, yet they can beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in a shootout, and they took the defending champions to a shootout. How about this? Let's go to our House of Horrors, a place that we never win in. Let's go to Ottawa. They go to Ottawa. They get outshot. Cameron texts me after I was, severely inebriated from the Eagles game and happy that they won. Cameron tells me Flyers got outshot 28-7 the first two periods.
Yeah.
I was like, well, then how'd they win? And Cameron just says, good question. Cameron, you're the one that watched the game last night. 37-19 in terms of shots on goal.
There's two reasons. Two reasons why they won last night, and they're both Russian. Fedotov, Michkov. Some reasons why they won. Now, Michkov, not entirely, because he didn't have an entirely great game. But for the most part, he was the one who won them the game at the end of it, so that's why I'm saying that. But really, honestly, to me, the big reason was we've been giving them crap, but you brought it up earlier. The main reason they won was Fedotov. He kept them in. He kept them alive. 26 stops on 28 shots in the first 40 minutes is ridiculous for any goaltender to have to put up with. And he put up with it, and he kept them alive. He kept them in the game. And the whole entire time, I think why Omar really fell apart, who is a former Vezina winning goaltender, by the way, like that, in case anyone forgot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The reason, my theory, the reason why he fell apart was because he's watching what his team is doing. Right, just crushing, like just absolutely. Puck is constantly in the offensive zone. The Flyers are not getting out of their zone. They're not getting anything going in the offensive zone themselves. Just absolutely dominating. And meanwhile, he's looking up at the scoreboard and he's seeing that it's still 2-2. And he's let in 2 of 7. And so all of a sudden that starts to kind of weigh a little bit. You know what I mean? Where you start to think like, man, I'm the one letting the team down, and then that starts to fester. And meanwhile, it's festering the entire time. You're not having any opportunity to prove that you can block a shot because they're not even coming into your side of the ice.
It's like he's icing himself in a way.
Yes, and I just kind of think that became somewhat overwhelming, and I think it was, of all people, Anthony Richard, who, shout out to Bill Metz, coined the nickname Tony Dick. It's a great name, and that's how I'm going to refer to him from here on out. It's great, dude. I love it. It totally fits. But I think Tony Dick was the first one who kind of thought to himself, like, I kind of think if we just start hitting the guy with shots, that they're going to go in. Sure enough, my man's got 2 points. Sure enough, they just, again, that OT winner, if you saw it, it wasn't a great shot or a shot selection.
It's a puck he's got to have. You got to have a save right there.
Yeah.
Michkov celebrates the way he does. He's probably more shocked than anything that it went in the net.
Yeah, and because the thing is, like, Michkov, like, he reminds me of me when I play NHL, because like I always shoot near side. I always shoot. I'm just thinking like, there's that little gap. I'll get it. So he's always trying to shoot near side. So to me, I also think that celebration was like him being like, oh, it finally went in. It finally worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, yeah. There's a couple things I wanted to kind of bring up from this game in particular. You bring up Anthony Richard, or as he will now forever be known as Tony Dick.
Shout out to Bill Metz.
How about Richard though? This is not a guy that I think anyone was thinking about showing up to this roster and making any type of impact. How many people had Anthony Richard on their, in their top 4 lines for the Flyers? No one, right? So He shows up when the Flyers are having a clear depth problem, and he adds. He adds, and he's doing what's asked of him, and he's making the most of what will hopefully be a longer stay and a longer opportunity to crack the NHL roster. But this is where, we've talked about it before, this is where we got to find out who is going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah.
Maybe not Morgan Frost. Maybe not Bobby Brink. But maybe a guy like Emil Andre and Anthony Richard. We already know Michkov's staying here. So we know that Owen Tippett's got, although we need more out of Owen Tippett, we know he's going to be here because of that contract. Same with Travis Konecny, who is, in all fairness, Travis Konecny is performing at the level of the contract that I would like him to perform at. He's got over a point per game. But for me, Richard, it's been awesome to watch him show up. Same with Andre. And also, underrated, and it's something that I didn't notice it myself until I looked at it earlier today before we hopped on.
Yeah.
But Travis Sanheim quietly with 9 points in 17 games, and he's even on his plus minus.
I'm going to say it right now because we give the guy a lot of crap. Um, he's the best player on the team right now.
He is the
He's
best
the best
player on
player on the team right now. He's been playing phenomenally well, and you got to give him credit because we always talk about the peaks and valleys season by season.
the team.
I just you just want it to stay consistent, but so far, I mean, we're a month and a half into the season, and guy's been pretty consistently this good throughout this
Yes.
entire year so far. So it's starting to become the expectation, in my opinion, for him, where it's like, listen, you've got this big contract, and you're playing consistently at a high level, consistently, and it's elevating other people. Bobby Brink had the highest Corsi 4 yesterday, and I don't think it was because of Bobby Brink. It was because Travis Sanheim. He was on the same line with him for the most. He was out there with him for 18 minutes or something like that. So
That's
yeah, no,
interesting.
I'm very very happy with Travis Sanheim because we give him a lot of crap. So it's one of those things where it's like I got to really give him the respect
Well,
that he
we got to
deserves.
give him his flowers too. That's
Yes,
that's just the truth.
absolutely,
And here's the thing.
absolutely.
So with Sanheim especially,
Yeah, Bobby Brink was the
yes.
only positive Corsi player last night, technically.
Well, I haven't. Flyers are, speaking of Corsi, I'll get to that in a second. But with Sanheim, do you think, because his bad can be so bad, and his
Yeah,
good can be really good. And I honestly think it's a focus thing. I honestly think this guy forgets sometimes that he can be one of the top, defensemen in the Eastern Conference if he really wants to be.
yeah,
I think it's a focus thing. I just think he loses track of himself, and it leads to some horrendous looking plays. He jumps up on a rush in overtime, crashes into a wall, avoids breaking his neck, and then meanwhile the Oilers have a 3-0 going the other way. Like, this guy, in my opinion, can be such a great defenseman. We've seen what a great defenseman looks like in Travis Sanheim because he's had those years. He had like 5 months last season where he was maybe a borderline all-star, and then
yeah,
the wheels finally came off for him. If he is not focused, he turns into an absolute muffin out there.
yeah,
But when he's
yeah,
on, and he's on, he's the best player on the ice for the Flyers.
yeah,
But you mentioned Corsi, and I wanted to do a deeper dive. Now, Corsi, if you don't like Corsi, I get it. It's not for
yeah.
everyone. These inner analytics don't really mean anything to some people. To me, they mean something. And Cameron also buys into my conspiracy theory.
They're not everything. Like, it's one of those things where it's like it's not everything, but it's a metric. It's one
Yep.
metric. It's a way where you compare that compared to your eye test, compared to just shots on goal, compared to the stats themselves. It's just you throw it in there. That's
Yep.
all. It's another piece of the pie.
So, Corsi, Flyers, 47%. They're 27th in the NHL. Fenwick, Flyers, they are 46.6%. They're 26th in the NHL. Expected goals for percentage,
Don't
Flyers,
say it.
27th in the NHL, it's 45%. I was actually surprised it was that high.
It was 30 last week.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've really stepped it up of late then. And we'll talk about other things that have stepped up of late. Because, look, these stats look so bad, but it's crazy to say they've hit their stride in the last week and a half. That's the crazy
what
thing.
scares me. That's what scares me because to me that's what leads to bad habits.
Absolutely.
I don't want that.
All bad habits.
I
Taking
don't
the
want bad
San
habits.
Jose Sharks to a shootout, giving up a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about that.
Right.
And the thing is, and look at look no further to show just how bad our bad was. Look at the goaltender stats right now. Sam Urson has played noticeably better. His goals against average is 270, a save percentage of 902. You think, okay, that's not that good. Yeah, that is markedly better than what it was on October 20th.
Yeah.
Ivan Fedotov has played so well of late. He actually raised his save percentage from like 8.21 to an 8.62, and his goals against average fell from like a 5.86 to a 3.98. Now, you look at his numbers right now, you go, this guy's unplayable. I look at this and go, oh my God, he's turning into an all-star before our very eyes.
Here's the thing, dude. Like, I don't, like, it's very funny to say that because it's like, that's so typical us, right? Where it's like, well, problem solved. We got goaltenders now. But my thing is I don't need him to be great. I don't need him to be good. I don't even really need him to be like a great, solid backup. I need him to be good enough for Kolosov to develop in the AHL. That's what I need.
Because you don't think it's time for Kolosov to be anywhere near the NHL. He's not ready for the show.
I think he's shown us glimpses. He's shown us glimpses so far, but it's like that guy's young enough. You could turn him into something great. But I don't think right now the NHL speed, especially with the way the Flyers are playing and not getting the puck out of their zone, it's not going to help him right now in his development. Whereas Fedotov, we already said he's 28 years old. We hope he gets better, but we're not putting a lot of money onto that right now because we don't, he's 28 years old. But Kolosov has a chance to be that goaltender you want him to be, and I don't want him to be ruined up here.
No. Did you know the Flyers are 2 points out of a wild card spot right now? Did you know? I sure as hell didn't.
No.
They're
I haven't. I don't look at the stat. I don't look at the standings really at all right now.
In November, you're not standing watching in November? Come on, man. What kind of fan are you? No, but like while we're giving guys flowers as well, let's also talk about Alexei Kolosov for a moment. And I want to go back to the Boston loss, the 3-0 loss.
Yeah.
So Ersan starts out 8 for 8 in that game, and then he goes down with the injury. And then Kolosov comes in. And, look, ultimately the Flyers lose 3-0. I think the third goal, was an empty net goal. But I'm actually pulling up the stats right now just to make sure that I have this because I couldn't – I had to make sure that I was seeing straight because there is a certain someone – I'm not gonna name this person. There's – okay. No, this definitely helps my argument. Thank you very much for these stats. Someone out there that Cameron and I are at least aware of, we're familiar with. I'm pretty sure I sent the screenshot to you. There was a post out there on social media about someone completely bitching about how the goaltending lost them this game. By the way, the score was 3-0, in case you're wondering of that Flyers-Boston game. Goaltending's why they lost. That big donut had nothing to do with it, let me tell you.
Yeah, not being able to get out of the zone, only stretch passes.
They got 20 shots on goal, but it was the damn goalie from Russia. That's why they lost. But Kolosov was 20 of 22 in that game. He comes in. He bets to stand on his head and face 22 shots in about 2.5 periods. And the Flyers lose 3-0 to a team that is supposed to be better than them, by the way. It's not like we're supposed to be better than the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
But I got to sit here and I got to see, the freaking 23-year-old goaltender. Unbelievable. Like, did you watch the game?
Yeah.
Or are you just game casting it on ESPN?
No, the Bruins are a good team, and they're struggling. They are struggling right now. True. But, yeah, dude, you're putting up 0. You just shut this team out 3 days ago.
3 days
in their own
prior.
building. You shut them out in their own building 2 nights ago. It's not on him. It's not on him. And that's the thing. The goaltending has been bad.
You get 20 shots on goal. You give the puck away 15 times. You were 0 for 3 on the power play. You lost the faceoffs, but F that goalie, right? Get out of here.
Yeah. It's just very typical.
God.
Again, the goaltending's been bad, so it's I get why that's people's mindset is F the goaltending because it has been bad. But the kid's 23, and he looking at his numbers, he did fine against the Boston Bruin team that is argued maybe a contender. Right. I would agree with you. And again, that, to me, the goaltending needs its issues, but the players are the players. They are who they are. We all knew, we were all hoping that Fedotov was going to be great and Kolosov was going to develop in 3 weeks or whatever. But let's be honest, we all knew this was kind of going to be a problem somewhat. To me, where your concern should be was what you just brought up earlier, being 27th on the expected goals for, which is 3 spots up from a week ago, which is pathetic. This team was a top 10 team in a lot of those stats last year, which is one of the reasons why they overperformed. That has to come back. Since that's not there, you have guys like Michkov who are doing again. Imagine TK's playing great, Michkov's playing great.
Yeah,
he's got things to work on, but offensively he's playing solid. Couturier, as much as the crap we give him, in my opinion, a big reason why they looked horrible last night was because they didn't have Couturier. The guy who he's scoring 0.6 points per game. That's kind of all I need him to do at this point in his career. Considering my opinion of him last year was in the absolute basement, and he has turned it around to be one of the better players on the ice, a play driver better than anybody else out there. Deserves credit. and you took him out of the lineup, and they put up 7 shots in the first 2 periods. With those guys all doing relatively well, them having such a low expected goals for, imagine if it was higher. Imagine if it was 5 spots lower than it was last year. You're talking about 2 points out of a wild card spot. You're talking about 2 points out of the number 3 spot when you bring that up.
Mm-hmm. And what's worked this year? What has stayed the same from last year? Only one thing has stayed consistent from last year. That is the penalty kill is phenomenal. Now, last night it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. And not having Couturier probably has a lot to do with that. But 87.9%, which is a tenth of a point off of second place. And that team that is in second place also just happens to be the New York Rangers, one of the best teams in the NHL, although they prefer not to play like it sometimes. This team, as frustrating as they are, they're not 27th.
Right.
Bad.
They shouldn't be. Yeah,
no, they're not. You know what they are? They're a middling. They're in my opinion, I think they're the 16th to 17th best team in the league. And it's not good enough to ever win a cup. You'll never win a cup being middle of the pack. Right. But don't sit there and try and sell on to me that this team is a bottom 5 team, because they've got way too much talent to be bottom 5. Bottom 5 is like that. That to me is like the Anaheim Ducks, right?
Where they have list them off. List off the teams. Let's list off the teams.
Are they better? Should they be better than the San Jose Sharks? You bet your ass they should be better than the San Jose Sharks. And you know what? They beat them in a shootout.
Almost blew it.
Oh my! They tried to. They really wanted to. Are they better than the Anaheim Ducks, who have one player in Travis Zegras, that rookie that couldn't be bothered to be in a Philadelphia uniform? He's played 15 games, doesn't have a fucking goal yet.
Yeah. And Drysdale doesn't look great either, so we can't I'm holding my breath right now.
The Hall. If Cutter ends up sucking too, both teams have to call it a wash, because then Flyers fans can only bitch so much about Drysdale. But the point is that the Flyers fans need to take a counter of every time Cutter Gauthier goes another game without scoring and put that up on some pornographic website, because that is stupid for all Flyers fans. But the point is, are they better than the Ducks? Yes. Are they better than the Sharks? Yes. Are they better than the Predators, who are 5-9-3 right now? I sure as hell think they are. Can they be better than the Chicago Blackhawks? Can they be better than the St. Louis Blues? Can they be better than the Utah Hockey Club? Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see them in a few weeks. But the Seattle Kraken, the Kraken dusted us up there. They're 8-1. They're 1 win better than the Flyers right now in their own standings. The Calgary Flames left us for dead. And since their red-hot start, 3-5-2 in their last 10. 8-6-3. We blew a lead against Edmonton. Edmonton's only 9-7-1. And they're just starting to find their tracks again. They beat Vancouver at least once. Vancouver's 8-4-3. We've seen this team beat the very best and contend with the best. So don't sit there and sell on to me that this is a bottom 5 team in the NHL. They are playing like crap, and it has to change. And it does start with John Tortorella as well. He needs to coach better.
That's what I think where like the root of my worry is because you hear him in interviews and pregame, postgame. He's saying everything we're saying. He's seeing the problem, and he knows where. Like he talking about it. He's like, well, we got this, we got to do that, we got to do whatever. Yeah. And that's what bothers me. It's like, well, okay, if you obviously know it, you identify it, you got to be able to translate that. And it I would say earlier this week, I think it was, even though they almost blew the game, they did play a relatively solid game against San Jose.
They did, yeah.
I think the same thing with with Florida, relatively solid game. So it seemed like it was like, okay, seems like we were starting to figure some stuff out. And then it was just an absolute, the last two were just not great.
No.
Just not great at all.
So what do you think is more likely the situation? Because I've had two theories on this. What do you think is more likely? Do you think Tortorella is having a tough time getting it through to his players? Or do you think Tortorella doesn't believe that this team can be good, and that's why the problems persist?
I don't think it's that. I definitely don't think it's the second one. If anything, it'd be him not getting through.
But here's the thing with Torts, and it's one of the things that I've always loved about him. He's very much a realist.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. You're never going to get woeful optimism out of him, and he's never going to sell you a lie. He'll tell you how it is. So my worry, the only worry that I think ever comes with that, because I think we're all guilty of it. If you don't fully believe in something, can you truly, as a coach, can you truly help them overcome that? And
I see what you're
if he
saying.
now again, I would tend to agree with you. I don't think Tortorella just doesn't believe in his team. He saw last year that they were on the doorsteps of the playoffs. Even if that was overachieving or not, they were there. If he's having trouble translating that to his players, my next question would be why? Why is he struggling to impart these necessary changes to help the team play better onto these players? Now we
Yeah.
say this. Now, Cameron, as I say this, let me give a big caveat. The Flyers are 6-3-1 in their last 10.
Yeah.
So it's possible that they are turning it around, and we just have to wait a few more games to really see that this turnaround is
Yeah.
happening.
I think there's could be a couple reasons too, and one that was maybe some would say an excuse or some would say a reason, is that it's arguably the youngest team in the NHL, and it's going to take them time. Like if you look at the guys who have been performing, they're the guys you want to be performing. Travis Sanheim just signed a big contract. You want him to perform. He's doing it. Couturier, doing it. Travis Konechny, doing it. Matt Mitchkov, doing it. A lot of them are buying in and playing pretty well. And then other ones are just young, haven't played a whole lot. Cam York, Bobby Brink, those guys. The ones that worry me, the two that really worry me, are Morgan Frost and Tyson Forrester. Those are the two.
Forrester's a big worry for me right now.
But to me, it's like I can. There are other guys where it's like, okay, well, you're just not at that level yet, and I can accept that. Like Garnet Hathaway, Scott Lawton, those guys. Like I'm never going to expect them to be 50, 60-point scorers consistently.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm expecting 40 points, but they're going to do tough minutes and they're going to play a great role for the team. So to me, it's like, okay, well, then I look at the star players, and there are some star players who are doing well. Again, like I said, Couturier, TK, Matthew Mitchkov. But then there's other ones, and it's really only a handful that to me are disappointing me. And that's Morgan Frost and Tyson Forster for the most part. And for John Tortorella, another thing that could be maybe why he might not be, communicating great. I think Tortorella, we've talked about it before. You brought it up last year about how basically he has a stint in his contract where he wants to go to management,
Mm-hmm.
and it will eventually happen. And from what I understand, he's basically looked at as kind of like the arbiter of this team. He's the guy who's going to evaluate talent, say this person's here to stay, this person isn't. So maybe he's a little bit distracted with that. But the thing is it not makes me nervous, but when I look at Forrester, when I look at Frost, especially Frost, because it's a contract year, I don't see him coming back. This is the third year in a row where we're having an extremely slow start. We're just not getting it, not putting it together until January. I can't have that every year, man.
No,
I can't
I'll,
have it.
I'll I'll agree with you. I'm not as worried about Forrester as I am about Frost because Forrester's younger, and you know sophomore slumps. He had a really great rookie season. That was a thing, and it definitely elevated
Yeah.
expectations. He's played 16 games. He got only 2 goals and 1 assist. You have to just hope that can be coached back into him. Maybe he's lacking some confidence right now. He just needs to see a few go in the net, probably.
Could be.
Frost, on the other hand, that's a different story. This, I really thought Frost was going to break out this
I
season.
know.
And I didn't think he was going to have 80, 90 points. I thought this guy is a walking, he could have 40 assists this year. He could have maybe 20 goals. If he gets to 60 points, he's going to get himself a pretty good payday.
Dude, given how the second half of how last season went, you're expecting he's going to come back in stride, right? You would think.
And instead, he came back and he hit a brick wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and so he gives you nothing on defense. He's a -10. He's giving you nothing on offense. So why is he playing? That's not my decision to make, obviously, but I think I think Flyers fans as well. It's not even a lack.
That's also why he wasn't playing until Couturier got hurt.
Yeah, no, well, that's also a good point. He got pulled, and he's going to get pulled again. And I don't know that busting down towards his door with a gun in hand is going to save him this time.
Right.
It's not even that I'm mad at him. I'm just exhausted from waiting for these old first rounders from the Ron Hextall and Chuck Fletcher era to get going. I'm just so tired of
Yeah,
waiting. And
yeah,
some might say like, Cameron's the first to always point out, look how long it took Sean Couturier. But the thing about Sean Couturier is that we always knew he had talent and that he was so good defensively. There was a reason why
yes,
you keep him. It's like, well, he gives you something. When you're getting
yep,
nothing out of someone, what's the point?
yep. No, you couldn't have said it better than myself. That was it. Because like he was the Crosby killer at 18 years old. Sean
Yes.
Couturier. That's the reason why I and so many others were just like, let's give him a second. Because it's like, even if he's like this his entire career, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him being a career all-star penalty killer. That's fine. I wish he was more, but whatever. But Frost, that again, like you said, I'm not expecting him to score 80, 90 points. 60 points would be great, but 50, whatever. If you're not going to do that, I need you at least to drive play, to win faceoffs, to do stuff
Yep.
defensively, and that has tanked. Like that, which is uncharacteristic of him, and that's what worries me. Is that at this point you're in a contract year, and seemingly from all the evidence, and I am kind of looking at him the way I was looking at Sean Couturier a couple years ago, where I'm saying I'm not going to give up on him yet, and I haven't, but all the evidence is pointing toward looks like you're regressing, man. Not even progressing, you're regressing. Last night, I think he was third on the Corsi for the team, 43.8%. And I was like, that might have been one of his best games this season. And it was like, it wasn't even a great game. He didn't look horrible.
He's got two things that I will defend him over. He has 4 power play points right now. He had 11 all of last year. His face-off percentage, because you mentioned it, and I was like, that's a great point, is that his face-offs have not been good. He's won 50.5% of his face-offs. Last year, he won 49.5. Now, I'd love to know what the splits were of when in the second half of the season of last year versus
Right.
what in the. I have to go look at that.
Post January, pre January, right?
I definitely have to look that up. But you're not driving play. Whenever someone on your line scores, it's almost like how much he had to do with it. I have no idea because it's so frustrating, and I have been banging the table that this guy's going to do something, and I'm going to still continue to believe that there is a chance for him to I just think he needs to hit a stride. If he gets a little bit of momentum, sees a few more go in the net, I really think he could still have a very productive year. But at this point in time, at this current rate, he will not be a Philadelphia Flyer by the trade deadline. He won't be a someone will take a chance on him. I know. You're a first round pick. Every first round pick gets another chance out there. But if Tortorella is this great arbiter, which I think he is, he's looking at this guy going, yeah, he's not coming back. I like him, but he's not coming back.
Right. And again, like you said with Forrester, he's younger, so he's got a little bit more time, and plus he's still on a 2-way contract, so they could send him down to the AHL if they had to. That would suck for him, but at the same time, nothing really kind of gets you a boot in the ass like that. But no, and like in your defense and in our defense for those out there, like we want Morgan Frost to be playing better.
The
Like,
one
this
thing
is the
you
thing of us crapping on him. We're not
No.
being like he sucks, get him out. It's just like, dude, I need you to be. You're wearing 48, brother.
And this is why you need, those listening should always be listening to Broad Street Hockey podcasts, whether it's BSH Radio, whether it's Fly Hyperbole, or us and Fly Guys podcast, because
Nice plug.
Good plug.
But no, you're right. I agree with you.
Why I say this is because other people on other platforms that are Flyers fans, they're not interested in seeing progression in these players. You know what they are interested in? They're interested in being right. And I would love nothing more in 5 months to come on here and be like, ladies and gentlemen, this season has taught you anything. It tells you I know nothing about the sport of hockey, because I want to be wrong about when it comes to all my doubts, I want to be wrong so badly. Yeah. I want to be wrong about Morgan Frost. I want to be wrong about John Tortorella struggling to get things through to his team. I want to be wrong about my doubts in Owen Tippett and Ivan Fedotov. I am so praying I can be wrong.
Yeah.
But what I will not do is sit here and weave you a web of lies. What I'm seeing with my own eyes tells me this is problematic. I still believe in my heart of hearts that this can be a playoff team. And they're
Me too.
turning it around slowly, that maybe they will show me that. And we'll talk about it's coming up next. We're going to talk about the standings because there's a couple interesting storylines I wanted to go over with Cameron.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and immediately write someone off, and certainly don't sit there and make every excuse in the book. If someone's not playing well, you can say that. It doesn't mean you don't want that player to succeed, but especially in the case of Morgan Frost, it is exhausting, it is frustrating, and it is disappointing.
Yes. Yes. And like you just said, like we have come out here and have given Rasmus Ristolainen flowers because we crapped on him in the past, and we said, you know what, there's been moments where he's played well, not now, but there's been moments, and I was very excited today to come in and talk about Travis Sanheim and Ivan Fedotov, where I'm just like, dude, these guys are playing well, they're playing well, and we were talking crap on them, especially Fedotov, and it's like, you know what, guy's turning it on. And I'm proud of him. That's fantastic. I hope he keeps it consistent. I don't know if he will, but no, that is ultimately what you want as fans.
If you want players to feel good about right now, you can feel good about Fedotov. You can feel good about Sanheim. Another guy that I think you can also feel good about, we already talked about him, is Tony Dick. Richard it's a positive story right there. I think that's something that shouldn't be ignored.
Dude, when they asked Torts, hey Torts, what do you expect from this kid coming up here? I just need him to score. My man's got a point per game right now. He said, okay, coach.
Say less.
All right.
Emil Andre's a +1 in his 9 games so far. He's got 3. I think everyone universally agrees, hey, this is fun. He's good. It turns out it's
so
actually
much
pretty
fun.
Good.
He makes me laugh watching him play sometimes because you can tell there's just pent up energy. It's just he just wants to get after it. And there's times where he like crosses over in front of the crease and it's like, dude, chill. But no, I'm loving watching him play. I think his play is going to dip as it goes, and some of that energy goes down. But it's very encouraging seeing what he's doing, and given his opportunity and how he's taking advantage of it.
Nick Seeler's got 5 points in 12 games as well. By the way, that's another. You look back at this show's history. We've been wrong about the Nick Seeler contract, which I mocked because people were like, "Oh, it's a great deal for the Flyers." I'm like, "Who gives a shit?"
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
I remember who cares about Nick Seeler? And I ended up looking like a real dummy over that one.
It's my favorite contract on the team. I
think contractually, I have to also have that be my favorite contract on the team just because of how much I crapped on it. Garnet Hathaway is one of my favorite vets that the Flyers have ever signed. Just because the tenacity that he brings. If we didn't have Garnet Hathaway on this team, I mean, it would be a bunch of pumpkins out there.
Right.
It would be unwatchable. He's a keystone on this team. Yeah. Even if he'll never be a guy that scores a lot of goals and doesn't have a lot of assists. Although he is a +1, he's 9th on the team in scoring. He's got 18 penalty minutes, which is it's about what you'd expect for Garnet Hathaway because he does a lot of dumb things from time to time. But so there are things to feel good about this team. But I mean, Frost and Brink, and whenever hopefully York comes back soon. Drysdale before he got injured. Oh God, it's looked bad.
Yeah. Drysdale, I'm worried. Yeah, I want him to do well, and he.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not saying he won't. It makes me worried.
All Flyers fans want that. Quick look around the standings. So let's talk about No surprise really in the Atlantic Division right now, outside of Boston's early season struggles. Tampa Bay being in 4th place doesn't surprise me all that much, just because now that we're a few years removed now from this dynasty, Core's getting older.
Stamkos is gone,
Stamkos is gone, so them being 8-6-1. Florida's, in 1st place. Toronto's right there, 10-6-2. Toronto's putting together a solid season again. That's what we know that they'll do.
Yep. We'll see if they make it to the second round. Probably not.
Ottawa. Not a bad start. Buffalo's been productive. I mean, really, every team outside of Montreal has been okay. Like, everything's very okay. Montreal's terrible. They should have drafted that Matvei Michkov guy. I don't know what they were thinking.
Well, they had to wait 3 years. You know what? We're going to win a cup now. So,
right. Yeah, that's cup ready as ever. Metropolitan, New Jersey Devils. That one hurts. I'm not gonna lie, that one hurts me quite a bit. 12-6-2. They're especially their last 10. They're 7-2-1. Carolina 11-4-0. They're 8-2. The Rangers 10-4-1. Washington's 10-4-1. I'm not sure many people expected Washington to be this good, but they
Yeah.
are. And one of the big reasons why they're so good is Dylan Strome, who has 15 goals in. I'm sorry. He has 23 points in 15 games played. And then there's Alex Ovechkin with 10 goals. 10 goals in 15 games. Looks
Still
like a
got it.
normal pace for him.
It's
John
just ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous. He's that
I've
successful at scoring goals.
John Carlson's still like the best defenseman in the NHL all
Oh
these years later,
my god.
and the goaltending has been okay. Fun fact: Logan Thompson has yet to lose a game in regulation, so that's also kind of
Ah,
interesting. 7-0-1 right now with a 2.71. These goals against averages and these save percentages aren't going to blow you away, especially with Charlie Lindgren. But
yeah.
good for Washington. They've really come along. Islanders, Flyers, obviously right there. Penguins, it's not looking good in Pittsburgh. It just does not look very good.
Yeah.
I think for me, and I know you guys are going to be shocked to hear that I actually don't have any sympathy for the Pittsburgh Penguins and their struggles. But I think for me, the reason why they stink right now is because they're old as hell.
That's a wild theory.
And I
It's a
think they
wild
got
theory. A team with
I
a
think
core of over 36-year-old players.
and they haven't. And the goalie situation. Oh boy, you think the Flyers have a bad goalie situation? Let me tell you, this is amazing. Alex Nedeljkovic, he's terrible. 3.21 goals against average. His save percentage is below 89%. Joel Bloomquist, his goals against average is 3.60. He's got a save percentage of just barely over 90%. And then Tristan Jarry, oh boy, howdy, Tristan Jarry, you really. He stole that job from Matt Murray all those years ago. He never looked back. A 5.47 goals against average in 3 games played, an 8.36 save percentage. They've rendered him unplayable at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So
I have not watched any of their games, but I'm wondering if, again, how old is he? I got to see really quick how old he is.
Jerry?
No. Yeah. I'm wondering if a 37-year-old Chris Letang and an Erik Karlsson-led defense is maybe possibly contributing. Erik Karlsson, 10 points with a -7. Typical.
Don't forget
Like,
a 32-year-old Kevin Hayes. I mean, like honestly, they're probably the oldest team in the NHL. I feel like they're if they're not, then I'd be
I'm gonna look
terrified to
that
know
up.
who else is up there with them. Like Crosby's still going to produce. Crosby's about a point per game. Malkin's about a point per game. You know why?
I hate to say it, but Crosby's he's just a stud. I hate it. I hate to say it. Guy's 37 and he's over a point. It's ridiculous. This guy, and he took a contract pay cut. Come on.
Listen, he makes $8.7 million per year because, God forbid he doesn't have a number that doesn't reflect what number he wears on the back of his sweater. Cameron, there is another storyline quickly going on in the NHL. Who is the most boring team in hockey you think to that would be a good team? What's the most boring good team out there?
Oh, boring. Hold on. Let me look here.
When you see the Western Conference standings, you'll know exactly which team I'm referring to because you'll be like, they're that record? That's their record right now?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, Winnipeg's record's stupid.
There you go. That's where I'm at right now. They're the most boring good team in hockey. They're doing it again where they're going to have this blistering hot start. They're 15-2-0. Like they're looking like the 2011 Vancouver Canucks right now. And you'll be shocked to learn in Vancouver, everyone. I know this is going to really shock you. Connor Hellebuck, yeah, he's like a Vezina again. 1.92 goals against average with a save percentage of 9.34.
How old is he now?
Connor, he's only 31.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how old is normally too old for a goaltender, but I mean, I feel like he's probably still in his window of his prime. Big guys, Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, killing it out there for the Winnipeg Jets. After that, Minnesota continues to play well. Flyers beat them. Hey-o. Dallas Stars looking pretty good. Colorado Avalanche, I don't know if they're going to figure it out this year. Utah, it's exciting. I'm rooting for that franchise to be good, so I like seeing that they have a winning record right now.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of the division: Blues, Blackhawks, Predators, and then you move over to the Pacific, and
Just the
it's
basement.
it's tight. From spots 1 to 5 is separated by 3 points. Really, spots 1 to 6 are separated by 5 points, with Seattle 8-1.
Right.
Calgary's there. Edmonton's getting better. Vancouver's going to be good again this year. The Kings are definitely playing well right now. And then the Vegas Golden – I'm sorry. The salary cap cheating Vegas Golden Knights are right there at the top with 22 points. And then Cutter Gauthier's goalless year continues with the Anaheim Ducks way at the bottom. But the Ducks at least changed back to their original logo, so it's cool.
It is cool. Yeah, it is cool. Good for them. I did find the average ages. It looks like it's only the top, I think, 15 teams. Pittsburgh is the oldest, 30.9.
30.9. That's
30.9, their average player. That's crazy. That's way too old. Edmonton, number 2, 30.5.
Shout out, by the way, to Connor McDavid. Got his 1,000th point. He became the 4th fastest player ever to get 1,000 points.
It's ridiculous.
Which is,
Gretzky's got to be the other one. What, Gretzky? I'm thinking Lemieux and
Let's do it. You talk about player ages for a second, a little bit more, because I'm actually going to look that up for you, but I'm also curious to know more than just those two.
Okay, yeah. Now I'll go down. So Pittsburgh, 30.9 is the oldest. Edmonton, 30.5 years old. The next is Nashville, 29.8, which also kind of surprised me too. Carolina, 29.7. That didn't surprise me as much because I know, over the past couple of years, they were always buyers at the deadline because they're trying to push for the cup. So that kind of makes sense. Tampa Bay, 29.6. Chicago, 29.2.
See, that's weird.
You got to start rebuilding. You got to start.
Are they just thinking they don't have to because of the Wonder Kid?
You just read off the standings. You gotta, right?
I thought they were rebuilding. I didn't realize that they were still that old. And by the way, yes. So Gretzky was the fastest to do it in 400. Okay. Gretzky did it in 424 games.
Yeah, it's over 2 points per game. It's ridiculous.
It took McDavid 659. Then Mario Lemieux is second at 513.
Okay.
And then a name you may or may not know, Mike Bossy at 606. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
McDavid is also the 99th NHL player ever to reach 1,000 points. So if you don't think reaching 1,000 points is a big deal, just understand that only 99 players have done it.
Yeah. In a league that's been around for over 100 years. Yeah.
And of all the players to do it, there was only one that I think we can all agree on is the greatest that there ever was. And that player's name is Claude Giroux. He was obviously good.
Of course. Yeah. Naturally. Yeah. Yeah. Who, again, the Flyers held him to not a point. My man's got, I think, 9 points in 5 games against the Flyers.
Yeah, he's a Flyer killer.
And he's only been not with the team for 3 years. He's.
I tell you what, it's only been 3 years, Cameron, but it feels
hilarious.
It feels like it's been 10 years since Claude was a Flyer.
It does.
By the way, this is your annual reminder. Claude Giroux, one of only 99 players to be 1,000 points in his career. That means he's a Hall of Famer, idiots. He's a Hall of Famer.
It's just, yeah. Again, we're not going to get him back. I don't even necessarily want him back because I get it. But
I want him back.
I do too. I do too, but I know why it wouldn't work.
He needs to retire as a Philadelphia Flyer.
I think he will. I
really hope so.
I think he'll sign a one-day contract. Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. If Wayne can do it, Giroux's going to do it. There's no way, no doubt.
I want it.
But you just, again, we talk about the offensive struggles the Flyers have had, and it's just oh God, it's just a guy like him right now.
Imagine Claude Giroux and Matthew Michkov on a power play together. I don't want to think about it.
Just imagine the trajectories of if the John Tortorella rebuild happened at the same time that Claude Giroux hits his prime, yeah. Sickening.
Dave Haxtell really killed this franchise, and
Sickening.
Chuck Fletcher and Ron Hextall. Before we go, just wanted to say a couple things. One, if you enjoyed that Eagles game last night, hey, go Birds! That was awesome. Really, just feels so good. We get a whole Sunday where I don't have to worry about the Eagles losing because they already won. They've already won.
Yeah.
And the rest of the NFL, well, good luck, of course, Cameron.
Yeah.
Obviously, hope that the Dolphins can take care of business this week.
Yeah.
As for the Washington, they're going to make the playoffs. Washington's a good team, but this division runs through one city, and it's the city of brotherly love, not the city of political corruption.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, you and I had a lengthy text discussion yesterday about what we think about the Washington Commanders, and
Yeah, they're okay.
I'll say this. This is what I said yesterday. I've seen this ship before. You know,
Not even just about a little over a decade ago, as a matter of fact, we saw this happen.
I've seen this ship before, and I'm not gonna get on a boat if it looks like the Titanic. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with the Washington
team. If it looks like the Titanic, and there's a guy named Jack on it, it's probably the Titanic. And so, with that being said, one last thing to say, Cameron, I always want to make sure that you also get your flowers as well. Without getting too much into it, Cameron really helped me out through what was a very difficult week for me, both personally and professionally. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows how wonderful of a person this guy is. And I just wanted to thank you for, Cameron, as always, for being not only a good friend, but a great listener when I'm just, kind of running my mouth over the phone about different things.
That's my favorite part about you, buddy. Don't even worry about it, dude.
Just running my
mouth
about different things.
It's a privilege. No, no, anytime, dude. Again, I feel, uncomfortable. I can't take compliments well, but, anytime.
So you can't take compliments, but you're good at dishing them out, especially to your terrific wife, Olivia. You're very good at being able to dish out those compliments. But
she is the best. Dude, I gotta throw this at you. So, Xfinity was messing with our Wi-Fi. They were doing some update, whatever. So we were out of it for like a day. But me and her wake up. I think it was last Monday. I think it was Veterans Day. Because she wasn't working, and we both just get up and we're, what do you want to do? What do you want to well, we can't watch anything because we're all streaming. We don't have cable. Blah blah blah. And then she's like, I just want to watch a movie. I'm like, well, I have a bunch of DVDs, because I collect that shit because I'm an old man. And she looks to me and she says, I'm kind of feeling Batman. And I go, which one? Because I thought she was going to say The Batman, because we were talking about that with Halloween. I watched it a couple weeks ago. Because I don't know also if you know if that movie, how it starts out, but it starts out with him saying Thursday, October 31st, and this year it was on a Thursday. Yeah,
of course,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, she just goes, kind of thinking Batman Begins. Cue it up. 5.5 hours. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, bang, bang, back to back. That's yeah. It's pretty easy to give compliments. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty easy to give that compliment to a person like that. Yeah. Who comes to me and says, I know it's my choice for movie night tonight, but I'm kind of thinking we watch Empire Strikes Back. Cue it up, dude.
Cue it up. Oh, my God. Yeah, she is the best. Wow. That's such a good movie night. That makes me want to watch the trilogy right now. The greatest superhero trilogy ever.
It's on it, yeah. And, The Dark Knight's amazing. It's the best superhero movie ever. The Dark Knight Rises to me is the worst one of the three, but Batman Begins is fantastic. It's a great movie.
Not enough people talk about Batman Begins. That's the thing, because of how great The Dark Knight was. I think
it's kind of overshadowed.
Batman Begins is highly underrated.
Oh, such a good movie. Fantastic.
But that is going to do it for us at the Fly Guys Podcast. Be sure to follow us on X. Or on Instagram, or who knows, maybe we'll find ourselves on Blue Sky and Threads at some point soon, especially with Broadway Hockey moving over there as well. Be sure to give them a follow as well. I'm at Goodhart Justin. He is at Cameron Klein 15. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, let's go Flyers and the Fly Guys Podcast, presented by Bet Online.